Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here for our Walla webinar on the blueprint for switching studio software. I had to practice that a few times before I stumbled over my words. I wasn't in charge of naming this. For those of you that I have not met yet, that is a lot of you on this call. My name's Laura Munkholm. I am one of the founders and the president here at Walla. And I am so thankful to be joined by Whitney and Julie today, two of our amazing clients. Julie is the owner of La Bar up in the Bay Area, and Whitney is the owner of the Bow Collective in Park City. Sorry, not Salt Lake City. So if you're ever up in the Bay or skiing in Park City, definitely check out their businesses. But I would love, if you don't mind, to kick off. There is a little chat on the side. Oh, hey, Mark, you did exactly what I was hoping to do. Please pop in, say hello, introduce yourself, your studio, and where you're coming to us from. And that way we can address you guys by name and have a little bit more familiarity as we answer questions later on. On that note, just quickly, housekeeping. If you do have questions throughout the conversation, there is a little Q&A button on the right side of your screen next to the people and the chat. So if you click on Q&A, that is the best place to ask questions, because in there I can mark them as answered or to be answered, and we can make sure we check those boxes and you're not left wondering and frustrated at the end. Okay, awesome. So the goal of this webinar is not to sit here and sell you a perfectly rosy, everything works 100% of the time situation. We know that one of the biggest challenges for studios thinking about switching software, particularly Mindbody, where maybe you've been on this platform as a business owner, prior to that as a teacher, maybe even before that as a consumer, it might be all you know. And our goal here is really to paint a very realistic picture of what the transition process is like, with two of our clients who have gone through it. Whitney about a year-ish ago, right?
Yeah, just a year.
Yeah, there you go. And Julie, how many months now?
Just a few months, about 4 months ago.
4 months ago. So yeah, a couple of people who are at different stages, different types of businesses within the boutique fitness landscape, and really dive into the details of the data, what data comes over, the experience they had with their staff, their clients. And, I'll be asking questions like, what do you wish you knew going into the process? And how were the interactions with our team? So I'd love for each one of you to just give a quick introduction. Tell us about you, 1 or 2 minute bio, and then we'll dive in so they know who you are. Julie, you want to go first?
Sure. So, as you mentioned, we have a small boutique fitness studio in San Jose called La Bar Studios. It's been in operation since 2017, but I became the owner just last November, so not quite a full year so far.
Awesome. Cool. And what was your background before the studio?
I actually ran a Montessori school, so completely different. But I have been involved with La Bar since its inception. So I was a founding member here.
Amazing.
And I have a background in dance. So
awesome. Okay. So not technology.
No, not technology.
Okay. Awesome. And how about you, Whitney?
Awesome. Well, we've been here in Park City growing for the last 10 years, and we're a hit style studio that is also a full-scale retail experience too. So we have kind of a hybrid footprint on the real estate. And we say, our people really, the concierge approach to how we take care of things for them has been important for the last decade. So the change management was really big in jumping into this. So we've got a great base, wonderful people, and have a great time here in Park City.
Cool. And Whitney, you were on Mindbody from day one, correct? That was your...
Yeah. Yes. Day one was, I would say, as we started to demand some sort of software, Mindbody back then was all that we knew. I don't even think I knew there were competitors for years. And I I remember just being like, I guess this is how it is.
Yeah. Yeah. This is what this industry has. Okay. And Julie, Labar was on Mindbody
From the
prior
very
to
beginning.
from
From
the
the
very
very
beginning.
beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
So from 2017. So 7 years.
Okay. And the reason I bring that up for everybody on the call, I just think it's helpful contextually to understand how much data we're talking about when we are moving a business. So this is a decade, of data. It's not a small amount, thousands and thousands and thousands of clients and bookings and all of that. So as you think about this process and what they went through, it's not just, the 100 current clients they had for the last, 6 months. This is a lot. All right, I'd love to start with you, Whitney. What made you consider changing or want to change when you started thinking about, gosh, something's not working in my business?
Yeah, I think we're in an expansion phase about a year and a half ago, have an opportunity to expand to another market. And our booking platform was the one thing that is not systematized the right way back then. I just knew if we're going to grow this can't be the way. What took us to this point can't be what accelerates our growth. And I could envision turning one studio, another one, another one, another one, and doing that with an interface that felt pretty or aesthetically pleasing, and running reports that felt really easy. So I knew that better had to exist out there, and I knew in order to grow and be, kind of rise up, I had to find a new answer.
Okay. All right. Thanks for sharing that. And how about you, Julie? What was the main reason you really started considering a switch?
Well, as a new owner, I came in and just was blindsided by the lack of support for starters. I had a lot of questions because I had never looked at it from the administrative side before. I had only been a user. And so I knew how it worked as a user, and it wasn't slick and it wasn't pretty, but it functioned. But from the other side, I was really shocked when I had questions and I couldn't get answers in real time when I needed them during like working hours where I was focused on work and not trying to drive my kids around or doing something else. Um, I found the reporting to be really robust, but overly complicated. Like I'm not a data person necessarily. I need data to
Right.
make good decisions going forward, but I don't need to be like trying to sort out and figure out what it means. I want the platform to tell me what it means, right?
Right.
Um, and then the marketing piece was really frustrating as I started to dive down and try to figure out why things weren't going to people, or the people were saying I'm not getting that message. And so I just knew for all of those reasons that that there had to be something better. And so I started to open the door to exploring new options.
Okay, awesome. That's really helpful. I think those are super common reasons we often hear, especially the expansion, the scale, the marketing suite, or marketing options. And so I think probably a lot of people on this call are kind of in the same boat. Um, so let's get a little bit more into the details. So you've decided on Walla. You are kicking off with our onboarding team. Knowing what you know now, again, let's start with you. What do you wish you knew going into the process? If you could go back and tell your year ago self, like, okay, this is what you should prepare for and think about as you get started.
I think that change management is a continuous part of the cycle for months
Hmm.
after launch.
Yeah.
And this should surprise no one, but it
Hmm.
really isn't like you flip a switch. And it is, as long as you can direct that change to your amazing clients with whatever enthusiasm you have, and stay in it, they'll come in any way with you. I think I maybe didn't know, like I was still going through kind of reiterating and reminding and changing, just to kind of, it was a process that was maybe a little bit longer
Right.
than I anticipated. I wish I maybe knew that it would still take like another quarter, but God, it was so worth it.
Yeah. Oh, good. And how long did the official quote onboarding process from kicking off with Walla to actually being live on Walla, roughly how long did that take for you?
It was about 6 to 8 weeks, and we structured it. We kind of called for it to be like that because it just
Yeah.
timed right after our slump and into a busy season, so we could reframe it that way. So it probably could have gotten done quicker, but we just slowed it down a little bit.
Okay, awesome. And Julie, was that about the same time frame for you?
Yeah, we did it in about 6 weeks, and I wasn't on any specific timeline. I just followed the lead of the onboarding team and said, what's ideal? And they said we could do it in 6 weeks.
Okay. Okay, awesome. And then how about you? Anything that you wish you would have known going into the process, Julie?
I would just say that I wish I knew then what I know now about how easy it is, how user friendly it is. My staff was actually much more concerned about the switch than any of our guests.
Yeah.
And I think it was a bit of a trauma response to what they had been used to. And oh my gosh, how are we going to learn this? And so if I could have, I don't know if I should have done a better job showing them what it could look like or how it could be
Mhm.
different, but the ability for them to just kind of jump in and play around and get to know
Mhm.
the system is totally different than what they had experienced before. And so they were really worried that it was going to take them months and months and months to try to figure out how to learn this,
Yeah.
and it didn't.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call out. And to Whitney's point, there is still a lot to learn because you don't know what you don't know until you come up with the situation with a client or with a new membership or whatnot. And those things take time to learn over a quarter or over a handful of months. But the day-to-day basics, you would say they picked up more quickly than they expected.
It was so easy. Yeah. And I think in general, you know, there's things that are going to come up, unique circumstances or whatever, but the truth is none of it is an emergency, and it's all really fixable. It's just we might have to do something manually. No big deal.
Mhm. Okay, awesome.
I
I
have to
want
say,
Go
I
ahead.
on that, the shock and awe that maybe I thought was gonna happen did not. Like, in the vein of the switchover was so delightfully seamless. Like, it's so if sometimes that can be a real barrier to be like, "I just don't wanna disrupt the system," and
Yeah,
I thought it was worth mentioning. We did not have a shock and awe, period.
Yeah, yeah, that's
I
good.
see there.
And one thing that you mentioned when we were kind of chatting about this initially is just the mindset you went into it with and kind of groomed your team and clients with. And Whitney, do you want to speak to that a little bit? I don't know, you talked about how you tried to have really
Yeah.
nice framing and make it exciting.
We had fun with it. We really tried to take a narrative of, it's onward and upward, and this is part of, our growth plan. And we're really revamping this for you all. And we did fun check-ins of making sure that everybody, if they came by and could show us that they actually understood how this app worked, we gave them a pair of socks. If we really had to check where it can only function as well as you can implement to your people. And the more time and kind of joy and fun you put into that, at least for us, our people weren't responding to it like it was a pain. If they were like, all right. And then they were like, I love it. And the messages came back like, this is sweet. Okay. So we had fun with it. We did giveaways. We did what class, who, if you can prove to us that you know how this system works, then you'll win this, or we'll do
Right.
I
giveaways.
love it. That's awesome. How about you, Julie? Anything else from like a mindset perspective you would add to that?
I just think that, I mean, we just framed it as this is exciting. This is something that is going to benefit all of us. And I mean, we just sort of normalized the change. Like, this is what's happening. It's no big
Mhm.
deal. Everybody's going to get to go to all their classes. So don't freak out. And we're going to take care of you. And we did.
Yeah,
And we did. We didn't have to do very much, but I mean, it
yeah,
just happened.
awesome. Now, just to get into a couple of the granular things, because I think a lot of people on this call, there are a lot of generalities, right, that we can say. But if there are a few specifics, like I know, Julie, you mentioned something about the user interface and just what things look like on the website and app. What advice would you give there? just like what you wish you knew before going into it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I wish that I could have known a little bit more clearly what it was going to look like from for the user, so that I could have walked people through it.
Hmm.
But because I didn't know what it looked like, I just sort of had to. We just rolled with it, right? I said, "Oh, let me see your phone. Let me tap on it." I don't know, but it's pretty. It's so user friendly compared to what we came from, that it for most people, depending on, your experience with technology and your generation, I guess, we had a lot of people who never looked back, and there were a few that were like, I don't know what to do, and I'm like, oh, let me help you.
Yeah.
um
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a good call out because when you're in the process, when with onboarding, you're spending a lot of time behind the scenes in what you view in the software, not always thinking about what your clients are going to see. So that's a really good call out for those of you that are thinking about it. Make sure you spend a little time with you, and especially the staff members that have to deal with customer support in one way or another. Like, play around in the app or on the website and see what the widgets look like, or use one of our demo sites to do that so that you can make sure you've got familiarity there.
Absolutely.
And Whitney, you had mentioned something about the branded app as well.
Yes, I those of you that have a branded app, that's been signature for us, and I think it was something I didn't see coming, that the Walla interface is just as acceptable to our people as the branded app. So it almost was another step that I didn't anticipate. I thought the branded app would go right across, and I mean, it's a quick remedy, but that they can access through Walla, which kind of back in the days, they could go around the posts with Mindbody too, and we'd get people that would go outside of um,
Mhm.
the branded app. But
Yeah,
I always like to have people going through that channel, of course. So
right.
that was a heads up.
Right. So when you think about where people are going to be engaging with you, which is your branded app or the website, I think people who are used to only using a branded app, when you get the Walla widgets on your website, Walla widgets on your
Yeah.
website, they're so easy to use, and actually making purchases and booking is like, I mean, it's like buying something on Instagram. So it's really Apple Pay, Google Pay. It's so user friendly that you may have people that don't end up using the app because it is so easy on the website. And a lot of businesses were not used to that. So they hadn't really
Right.
thought about the website as much as maybe you can now. Not to say you can't push people to the branded app. It's beautiful, it's easy, it's great. It's also super easy on the website.
Yes.
Um, okay, cool. So another thing that both of you mentioned is that right after you go live, there can be people who have billing questions or billing issues. Like, you expected them, or they didn't expect to get billed yet, or whatever that might have, whatever the situation might be. Do you want to give an example, either one of you, of that, or just something you did to help communicate with clients around when their plans would bill and what would happen?
If you want, Jules, or
No, go ahead.
I could say some of my experience was when, getting them on the auto system, and if they need to adjust their plans,
Hmm.
just making sure that the calendar date is set before the auto renewal. That was a neat call out where, some double booking would happen just because it was on an auto. We had kind of assumed that one step was enough, but it is a two-step thing. And once that is confirmed and done, it's very, very simple to do. But that, I think when people switch plans, I've become pretty sensitive to making sure that, like, okay, let me double check that their bill date is different than their switch date,
Yeah.
for what it's worth.
Yeah, I think the big call out is, like, our billing or our data migration team will be hyper communicative with you guys about this. And while you're going through the process, and there's a lot of information coming at you in that last kind of, week before you actually switch to fully moving and breathing and processing and everything in Walla. And so just paying hyper attention to that, when billing will start in Walla versus when it needs to wrap up in Mindbody, because one of the big things that happen is that we do move credit cards over into Walla. And that doesn't happen instantly. It's a security thing through Stripe. They have to make sure we've got the secure data moved over. And so even when you're working in Walla, there might be a couple days where you're still processing payments. And so just hyper attention to that, I think, is really the call out. So let's talk about how you went through the 6 weeks with our onboarding team. What was the project management system like for you, Julie?
I loved it. It was because it was check boxes, and that's just how my brain works, right? And so it was really helpful to see everything laid out, albeit slightly overwhelming, especially at the beginning, because there are a lot of tasks to get done. But they are laid out in a way that they're chronological and they have due dates, and they are sort of bite-sized pieces. So always feel like I always felt like I was making some progress, even if I was only sitting down to check off one thing that day. So I actually loved the organization of it, of the onboarding process. It worked for me and my team. I have an business operations manager, and she and I tag teamed this whole project. And so we just made our way through it. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And Whitney, how about you?
Yeah, the deadlines, oh my gosh, they were so great. It's how I function best. Just tell me what has to be done and by when. And the accessibility to, I'm not sure if I understand this, let me just ask a quick question. Okay, I'll work on it. It really is how we get to the finish line. And I never once felt like, I think this is the first time they're figuring it out. Like Rocket Lane was like a set plan that we're just executing. So I had some real peace of mind there, where I'm like, we're like tiny compared to what they've dealt with.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So for context, guys, we do have a full project management software. We're not like dumping you into a bunch of Google Docs that you have to keep organized. It's a very hyper organized system. And it links you out to videos or articles, or you can communicate with our team. So it's definitely, it was a lot of trial and error to get there. I won't lie. Like, as a business owner, we learn a lot through the first few migrations, first handful. And I think now we've gotten it to a place where it can be really effective.
Yeah.
What about the data migration piece of it surprised you? Julie, I know you had some feedback here.
I did. I mean, when we came to data migration, I think this is the part, like, just personally, that I had the most anxiety about, because I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want to lose data. But we also cleaned up a lot of data in this migration, which is a beautiful thing now, and I'm so glad that we did it. But when we were working through it, it felt like, I mean, like, I had checked my boxes, and there was a time when it sort of felt like maybe the onboarding team was behind the deadline, and I started getting extra anxious about that. Like, are we going to be ready to go live on time? And of course, when we hopped on the call on the day that we had it scheduled, and they, like Whit said, it was like, this is not their first rodeo. So as long as I did my homework, they were doing theirs. I didn't have to, all of my worry was for nothing. And in the process, I got some really beautifully cleaned up data. So where we used to have, obviously, the last 7 years worth of all sorts of different memberships and plans, and we were able to sort of group them into what we can now call legacy plans. And anyway, it just looks prettier now and more digestible.
Yeah. And how about for your clients? Did either one of you want to pipe in about your clients' experience with, seeing their data in the system afterwards?
I mean, I can speak to that too. I think our guests were so pleased to be able to just even see their past history, which was something that just from the user end wasn't available in the same way, or the same viewable way in Mindbody. And so, because not only did everything transfer over, but now they're really able to see, oh yeah, I can see my next billing date, and I can see all of my past billing. I can see all the classes I've taken. I mean, their data was all there, and it was finally accessible to them, viewable to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything to add there, Whit?
No, I mean, just like you said, the transparency and the delight, like the interface is so much more delightful than I mean, gosh, they loved it. They loved
Sure.
it. Mhm.
Good. Okay, let's talk about just advice. So we've got a lot of people on this call and probably watching back recording who are just kind of considering this, thinking about it, on the fence, maybe close to jumping in. What advice would you give them to make sure that this is a really smooth process? Because, and I'll be super honest with you guys, there are definitely migrations that are not 100% seamless. And oftentimes, a lot of it is going to come down to the owner's ability to, like Whitney said, meet deadlines for the tasks that you have on hand and to follow the process. So, we need to make sure there's a lot of open communication. But other than that, that would be mine, is like deadlines are really important and the team has a process for a reason. But anything else that you ladies would add?
Jules?
Create excitement around the process, because I think that that's key, that this is going to be better. And I would say divide the tasks if you can with somebody, find somebody who you can trust, who you can share these tasks with, and do it during a time when you can fully commit to it. We were fully in and for those 6 weeks. Not that that's the only thing I did for 6 weeks. It's not by any means, but it was a priority for 6 weeks. So if I had a deadline, I did it. And so maybe not doing it during their most busy season would be a piece of advice.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say if there's even one person on this call that's thinking about it, has that nudge that the business has either outgrown what they're using now, or if they just want better for themselves and the clients, do it. I probably left so much money on the table, like for years of just kind of winging it through Mindbodiness. And now I have run such a tighter ship, and I feel like I have like an ally and a tool and a bunch of support, that this machine can run in such a better way for the business and a better peace of mind for me. That if somebody who would have told me that a year ago and said, Whit, it's going to be a lift to get there, but you're probably leaving money on the table, and you're probably in this dread when you could be in delight.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I like to call out too is for those of you that are considering our marketing suite. The marketing suite in and of itself, if you already have a marketing platform, is also almost, although we're not migrating data from one platform to another, it's almost a migration as well, or like a transition as well. The marketing suite is completely embedded, like we built it from scratch in Walla. It's a part of our system, so it's beautiful that it's all connected. But it definitely takes another layer of thought process. So I don't know if either one of you have recommendations on, did you do all the building yourself? Did you hire somebody? How did you approach the marketing suite side of it? Sorry, I didn't prep you for this one, but I was just thinking about it.
Okay, so I'll jump in. We used Walla's suggestion. So there were resources that they provided for somebody who could just sort of build our core journeys, marketing email journeys in Walla. And so we used that person, and that was beautiful, because there's so much going on when you transition from one software to the next. I didn't have the bandwidth to also do that, nor did I really know what I needed to do, right? And so the fact that somebody did know what to do and how to do it was just a gift. It's 4 months in, and I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to create my own journeys, but it's lovely that I did not have to think about it for the past 4 months, that I knew things were just running on autopilot. So that's been wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and we're on our way to tapping in much more so to this automatic, magically way of connecting and doing this stuff. Because I mean, what it felt like an analog way of doing things. Now it's a few content creations and thoughts about what is really important to our people and what is important to the business and what might be campaign worthy, and really stacking the deck to have this run, as we say, automatically, and have it work for us. Not, yeah.
I'm actually
Love
going
that.
to change the way I say that word now. It's automatically instead of automatically.
Oh, it's a big saver.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Before we wrap into kind of the benefits, I do want to go back to a couple of the details, because I realize we didn't talk about this one. Both of you mentioned in the what you wish you knew going into the process about clients that are paused. So if you have a business that allows people to suspend memberships or pause their memberships, any advice you would give there as you're thinking about or going through the migration?
Do you want to take that one, Whit?
Yeah, I mean, I think a call out, this just is the duplication or of charges that can happen if you almost don't take it just to scrub your base of clients and make sure I mean, it's good for them, it's good for you. It would just be, I think, that was something that we didn't anticipate because we didn't know it was a possible, and it was very quick to cure. But yeah, I would say take the opportunity, Jules, like you said, like getting to able to scrub your data and make sure your clients are in this clean ecosystem now, and their charging's right, and it's worth that extra a set of eyes or notice or double checking.
Yeah. I think because Mindbody, you can just kind of pause somebody forever and they can sit in that state. And that's something we often see in data migration. So making sure you know who those people are and what you want to do about their memberships, and communicate that with the onboarding team, because there are a few different kind of flags that we want to make sure people pay attention to. And one of them is pauses. I think that'll be a helpful trick for those of you going through. Okay, so lastly, I'd love to hear, just as far as benefits are concerned, obviously there is work involved in this. Like you said, it was pretty much your top priority for about 6 weeks of the business. I love, 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 Julie and Whitney, that you guys kind of had dedicated people working with you on it. It's not just you in a vacuum trying to do everything all day. Dividing and conquering and having somebody that helps you own this project is great. But once you got through it and, were able to exist in this new environment, what do you think the biggest benefit has been so far to your business, Julie?
The user experience, I think, has been number one. And I'm not just talking about people who were already members and who have like Walla downloaded on their phone, although it is a huge benefit to them. For me, and I'm one of those crazy people who also did a website build using Walla at the same time. But the actual ability for my website to integrate with my booking system has been a game changer for the business. People can purchase things so much easier. It's just fewer clicks, very user friendly. So I would say it's the game changer. It's changed this business completely.
Thank you. And how about you, Whit?
Yeah, I would say it's unlocked expansion for us. I now see how it's possible. Even those of you that maybe are thinking a couple studios down the line, even the franchise capabilities and the way that everything can speak and talk, that is kind of along the lines you're saying, Jules. Like I'm excited for so many people to come to be able to use with delight this type of app interface, billing system, And my team now can take and look at KPIs and things that we were like, what? And really have it generate by report and have it be that, okay, this is all in the system and ready to generate at any time. And I can reconcile the billing, and it's so clean, and things that, you know, maybe were there in Mindbody, but not really for the easy find at all. And so peace of mind and ability to go out and expand because this is so well healed.
Yeah. Yeah, and thank you for bringing up just franchise businesses and larger multi-location, because that is something, the onboarding process is longer with larger businesses for sure. You know, it can be anywhere from, 8 weeks to a handful of months, but the process itself doesn't dramatically change. You're still dealing with a franchisee or one of the locations and migrating each one individually. We can do a handful in the same week or whatnot, but we definitely take the same care to understand the data. So there's no kind of bulk, hey, we're just going to slap you over into Walla. We definitely want to make sure it's as clean. And I think for franchise systems and larger multi-location systems, cleanliness of data is such a massive foundation for growth for the business. And like you said, having the ability to kind of get rid of those old plans, clean out some of the old options that were there. So reporting actually looks like the business looks today, and you're not constantly trying to click a million filters to try and remove people and add people from before. It makes such a difference. So as larger organizations think about scaling growth, a foundation of clean data is, it's irreplaceable. Okay, awesome. With that, hi Tiffany. Hi guys. Hi everybody. I'm just opening the chat right now. Does anybody have any burning questions, whether it's specific to the onboarding kind of steps or data, or just generally what you're sitting there kind of holding back, waiting for right now on the call? And while you're thinking about that and typing, I do want to say that our onboarding team is fantastic. There are a few things that I like set high expectations because I don't want to like oversell and underdeliver, but I don't think I could oversell our onboarding team. Most of them have worked in studios, so they're very comfortable, and actually in studios that used Mindbody, so they're very comfortable speaking the language and almost being translators, because I guarantee you are going to find something in your business now in Mindbody that is not one-to-one in Walla, right? Like, we are different systems with different foundations. We do a lot of the same things, but it's not the same language. So they will help you find a way to accomplish the end goal in our system, in our way. So I think that, I guess, mindset is also really helpful to have. Okay. Tiffany said how hard it was to leave the old guy. Like it's just so hard to leave the person or the software that you've used forever. Yeah, that can hold people back for sure. But I don't know, Whitney, like you said, if you're thinking about it, you're probably there.
Yeah, there.
How does Walla without the marketing add-on translate to more sales? So I don't know if anybody wants to take that with it. Like, if you're thinking about not using the marketing suite, I know both of you do, but is there anything you can pipe in there?
We didn't start with the marketing suite. We added that as we started our expansion plans. So we went and started just without it. And I think it just kept it so much tighter. And there was great ease of first time use, and then great callbacks to convert, which I think maybe there was a part of us that kind of would let things slide, some loosey-goosey attendance with Mindbody. It was just kind of, we didn't want to disrupt anything, where I feel like Walla keeps such a nice task-based attendance setup that everything, even where I maybe would have been like, it's fine, it's like, nope, that's the drop-in fee. No. And so I mean, part of that could be what a new user error has been, but I would say just the integrity of the app and of the system, I know has meant way more cash collected than I maybe would have been out there doing.
Yeah. That's a good point. We don't allow unpaid visits in Walla. That's a big
I
love
difference.
it.
That is most people. Some people are scared about it because they're like, oh gosh, how do I do it? You can still book into your future billing cycles. Like that's not a problem. I know that's the reason why most people allow unpaid visits in Mindbody. So in Walla, if as long as they have a card on file that's not going to expire or hasn't failed, they can book into future billing cycles. But you yeah, they have to have some sort of payment method in order to hold a spot in a class. Where I know, I mean, when we have people run their unpaid visits report before moving to Walla, people are often floored by how much money they are owed by clients. Okay, Sarah's asking about biggest concern is letting go of all we've created in the Mindbody marketing suite and having to start over. How does Walla help with this? So, Julie, I think that's probably what you were speaking to before.
Yeah, I mean, we used a resource that Walla provided. She helped us create the content. We copied and pasted all of our stuff so that we didn't lose it from Mindbody. So we basically just created a Google Doc, and she helped craft what Walla refers to as journeys, which is just basically drip campaigns, using that content and creating new content as well. She had some really good strategic ideas on how, because she does this is her job, on how to help us sort of be smarter about which emails were going out to which clients and when. And to be frank about it, and I don't know if you have had any of this experience or done a deep dive into your Mindbody marketing suite emails, but many of ours weren't being delivered. And so now I'm able to see exactly how many people, it went to, exactly how many people opened it, exactly how many people clicked through for every single journey. So yeah, but yes, is it a process? It sure is. I would highly recommend getting somebody to help you so that you're not trying to do it yourself, at least to begin with. Yeah.
And we have an internal resource. If you know exactly what you want and you just want us to go in and, work with you on which ones you want built in Walla, you don't need any strategy help. You don't need anybody kind of looking over it. We can do that. If you would rather talk to someone who's kind of a marketing expert, can help you with like, hey, doesn't look like this one's really effective. Here's what we're seeing, benchmarks, things like that. We have those resources too. They're outside of Walla, but we connect you with the right person, like Julie said. Okay, Wendy's asking, thank you, Wendy. Not that all of you guys aren't great rule followers, I'm sure, in life, but maybe you weren't here at the beginning. Thanks for putting your question in the Q&A, not the chat. Wendy asked, is Walla able to transfer my MBO contact log data? So that is not one of the things that comes over. We are able to take red and yellow alerts from Mindbody over, and they translate into like a historical notes section in the client profile, but contact log, like who spoke with someone when and what email was sent from the system, no. Data that transfers over is definitely anything related to the client, like contact info, right? And then their booking history, their payment history. We have something in the Walla check-in where you can see how many classes they've taken with you or appointments at the business. That migrates over from Mindbody. So if they've taken 100 visits in Mindbody and they take their first in Walla, it'll say 101. The notes, the red and yellow alerts, and then you'll get historical total sales data, but it won't be sliced and diced into like your service categories from Mindbody. So, but our team tells you what reports to run before leaving Mindbody so that you're not sitting there with no historicals to look back at. Okay, what is support like after you go live? I'd love for one of you guys to answer that because I can give my canned response, but Julie, what's your experience since you're a little more recent, I guess?
Well, immediately you're still kind of being handheld by the onboarding team. So in the days following the actual go live, they're still there as your sort of primary contacts. They're basically for us, they were a phone call away or a quick email or a chat away the whole time. And then obviously, as we got further out from the go live date, we didn't need regular support in the same way, but I continued to have questions. I think we had a follow up like 2 weeks out, maybe two weeks out with the onboarding team so that they could sort of hand us off. And really, it was functioning pretty smoothly at that point. They continue. I'm just going to tell you right now that Walla support is a different ball game from what you're used to if you're on Mindbody right now. So I get answers within seconds. And I ask questions of their chat bot, or like somebody will pop in if it's a specific question and the chat bot doesn't have the answer. Are you sure do you need more help? Yes, I need more help. I am not afraid of asking questions. I ask questions all day, every day. I don't have time to try to figure stuff out on my own. Sometimes I just need somebody to tell me what to do. And that has been the biggest benefit personally to me.
Whitney, similar, anything to add there? Like I know support's not always perfect. So
yeah, I think it's important to note that it is like a bot response system that will first direct you to like, see if you can figure it out with these topics. And then, okay, you need more, for sure, we're on it. Here's your ticket. Everything follows and circles back. And so I think that is notable.
Yeah. You're not calling someone.
No. And you're not waiting for someone to call. They will
call me back.
Yeah. Until it's resolved, they are on it. But it is an integrated bot system to start that is, what we're all kind of used to at this point now.
Yeah.
So
interestingly, I'll say, Dominic, I was skeptical for sure of a bot at first, like having AI answer a lot of it. We train the crap out of that AI bot. It's not just like reading articles. We are proactively training its learning. And now I can tell you more than 50% of the questions that come into our support ticketing system with like a thumbs up, thank you, yes, you did a good job, are answered by AI. So it's lightning fast, obviously, when you can get that. And I think because of the care and attention we give to training it, it's much more effective than it is in a lot of other systems. Okay. So I'm going to be mindful of time. I know we've got a lot of questions here. I'll probably get to about 3 more. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to make sure I say this now, and in case some of you have to drop off. You're on our website right now. If you're watching this, you can just click on switch to Walla up in the top bar, and you can schedule a chat with one of our product experts, and they can answer some of these questions if we don't get to it. And for everybody on this, if you guys are interested in making the move to Walla, sign by the end of the month, get ready to go. We're not going to be charging you until the new year. So it is amazing timing to make a switch. I can promise you anything that's like done before January, February is a godsend. Okay, I'll say that again at the end, but let me get to Kristen's question. Do you have plastic gift cards, and can the client redeem them online in consumer mode? So we actually don't sell gift cards. You can buy them through we have a third party that handles gift cards for Walla. And the reason we chose this third party is because it is 100% digital in our interface. You can buy gift cards through them. You can manually add the numbers to all of them. It's not that hard. We really have, basically one of our core values is big-hearted, and that includes the environment. We live in a world where we are trying to be paperless, plasticless. And so the gift cards that you buy and that are included with that third party are digital, and they go into the client's digital wallet. So the client can redeem anything on their own in quote consumer mode. It's really just on your website. While it doesn't have the same kind of, again, that's one of the translation things. They can redeem them on the app, on your website, anyway, in person. It's all super, super easy. And actually, you could pop onto a number of our clients' websites and see how easy it is to buy a gift card. It's really quick. Like you can decide, I want this sent to my friend on Sunday the 22nd in the afternoon with this email, and then they can use it to purchase anything. Okay, let's see. We use Zoom and Zoom integration. How does that work with Walla? Julie?
We love our Zoom integration with Walla. Yes, we used to have FitGrid,
Yeah.
right? Anyway, that was another. Yeah, we have had a lot of different parties involved, and now Walla just does it. It's sort of seamless. It's not sort of. It is seamless.
It is. You don't have to. You literally just put your Zoom ID in there, and then when you schedule a class that is live stream or whatever, it auto generates. It texts the people the link. You don't have to think about it.
And when they book their class, it shows the class and it shows live stream next to in person, versus we used to have have to list the live stream as a separate class, even though it was the same class at the same time. Anyway.
Yep. So yeah, it is much easier than it was in Mindbody. Let's see. Well, I have to activate my deactivated clients in order to get everything transferred to Walla. Nope. Okay, let me go back really quickly to the chat because I know there were a couple of other ones. Support like after you go live. Oh, did Mindbody make it a pain in the ass to depart? I don't think so. I think they're a pretty giant organization right now. They literally just have a department that's in charge of, okay, you're leaving. They may make you an offer of like, I'm sure they have a last ditch effort of like, hey, if you stay, we'll give you a month free, or we'll give you whatever. But for the most part, the biggest hurdle that we have with them is just getting them to respond sometimes. So it can take up to a couple weeks for them to respond on when they'll be able to send the data. And you don't have to worry about that. Our team, I don't know if you guys want to speak to this, but our team kind of gave you guidance on how to do that, right?
Yes. All I really had to do was kind of honor the end of the contract that I had with Mindbody, and then pretty much just submit cancellation. And maybe they did a last minute effort, but not really.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, often they don't. They just are like, see ya.
Yeah, exactly. So it was not maybe as painful as I thought it might be. I maybe had the same fear that you do.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like, feel the love, man. I've been with you for like a decade. Really? Sarah, yes, Walla does have two-way texting inside the platform, and you can have that forwarded or like ping anybody on your team's cell phone if you want them to get a note like, hey, you've got a new message in Walla. But all of the two-way text communication, both automated and manual, is through Walla. Okay, last one. Oh, that's Kristen on plastic gift cards. Yes, they can. And Kristen, I think it's probably best, if you haven't already, to just schedule some time to go over some of the detailed questions with our product experts. So if you click on just up top on the nav, the switch to Walla button, you can just put in your info there, and then you can dive into all of those. We got to let Whitney and Julie go soon because they're in their studios. Last thing, Tiffany, yes, meta leads funnel directly into Walla. They trigger immediately you can set them up to trigger a text message, an email. They will get communication within 10 minutes or less immediate. So pretty immediate on those leads. And yeah, we have a full CRM, so you can use that aspect of it too to have your team see. Okay, awesome. Thank you, all of you, for joining. Again, if you are interested in scheduling a demo, please just click on Switch to Walla, and we're happy to get you in. Our onboarding team is lovely, and we're so grateful you spent the time with us this morning. So reach out if you have questions, hello@hellowalla.com. And Julie and Whitney, I can't tell you how grateful I am. Thank you for being here with us. It was such a treat.
Thank you.
And we will talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your Friday.
Thank you.